Welcome to Redtastic. Story 1. To give some context, my 42-year-old female's brother Joey, 37 male, has always been the golden child. My parents never wanted a girl, so when he came along, they spoiled him to no end and made me feel like the black sheep. Of course, this had negative consequences on both of us. I ended up leaving home at 18, spent my life with no real purpose, got no higher education, and basically marathon dated to fill a void parents left in me by never loving me. But I quickly turned my life around, got an apprenticeship, and now live in a condo with my husband. My brother led a comfortable life, got into college with parents' money, but ended up impregnating not one, not two, but 3 women, and ended up dropping out. Now he has 4 kids from 3 women, no job, lives in the bedroom he always lived in, and spends my parents' pension on tattoos and child support. He is now the bane of my parents' existence, but they still keep funding his mistakes. Recently, he was taken to court by baby mama 2 over back child support of over $3,000, and instead of finding a way to pay for it himself, he pushed that onto our parents. They didn't have enough to cover it after funding all his shenanigans over so many years. So they contacted me and straight up told me I had to pay because he's my brother. And if he ends up in prison, it would be my fault. And I would never live a day in peace till my death. Mind you, they never contact me unless I do. The only times they contact me is on my birthday or to remind me of the awkward Christmas dinner. They even forgot my birthday quite a handful of times. I'm the one who's always calling all 3 and checking up because I need to maintain something semblance of a family. But enough is enough of me being a doormat, and I in so many words told them to shove it up where the sun doesn't shine. I'm angry about the situation and so is my partner. We've never felt welcome by any of them, and now they want us to pay for the mistake they've been enabling for 37 years. Besides, $3,000 is a lot of money, and we just finished paying our mortgage. So we had been planning on taking a vacation somewhere and don't want to blow up our little savings on my useless brother. So, am I the a-hole for being upset with my family? Update. Okay, I'm officially done with my family. My brother sent me a wall of text and the gist of it was that he knew we bought a condo and me paying mortgage. So he asks, is this well-being worth that little to me that I wouldn't even consider foregoing my mortgage payments for a few months to save enough to bail him out? Like what the F? I checked when his last text was to me and it was 4 years ago. I'm done. OP, you're not the a-hole. Even if all Joey needed was $300 and not $3K, you would still not be the a-hole. He and your parents are the a-holes. Your parents for having a favorite child and making it obvious, for sending Joey to college but not bothering with you, for trying to guilt trip you into paying for your brother's debt, and Joey is the a-hole for his last text to you. Your family, which is you and your husband, is your priority. If you two were close, then that would be a different story. But the last time he texted you was 4 years ago, and now he just assumes you would go out of your way to bail him out of a situation he created himself. He's responsible for the kids he brought into the world. He should take care of it. If he can't, then your parents can since they had something to do with how he ended up. If they keep bothering you, I would advise you to cut them off. Story 2. So I posted here a little while ago about an argument I had with my parents that eventually led to me being kicked out of the house for a few hours. Well, it's happened again. So I was doing some math homework in the kitchen and having trouble with it. I've never been great at math, but I need it if I want to do economics, which is what I'm currently going for my degree in. After I had so much frustration with the homework, I decided to have a sit down with my parents and have a talk about the possibility of changing my major from economics to history, something that I've always been good at. My parents were really opposed to this change and tried to tell me that I could do the math with a little more effort and that when I got out of school, I wouldn't need to use a lot of the math anymore. I disagreed with their second point, saying that economists use a lot of math and that I would have to know how to do advanced math and probably use it frequently. I also said that I wanted to change majors because I didn't think I wanted to do economics the rest of my life, even if I technically could do it. This went back and forth for a little while, and the argument got more and more heated over time. Eventually, it got to the point where my mom was cutting me off in the middle of my sentences, mocking me, telling me that I had quit everything I had ever done in my life, and eventually began yelling at me. When I pointed out to her that this type of behavior was wrong and she would not tolerate it from me and called her a hypocrite because of it, she told me to go to hell and go to my room and grounded me from a few of my things. I went to my room and was enraged that I got in trouble for pointing out that my mom was being way out of line. This is when I realized that when we had our first argument a few weeks ago, where my parents kicked me out, my mom had taken away a pistol that I had in my room that had been given to me by my grandfather without explaining why. I had been thinking of asking for the pistol back for a while, and I figured that since I was already in trouble, I couldn't lose much by going and trying to get what I considered my property back. I went to ask for the gun and my parents refused to give it back. This went back and forth for a while, and then my dad came in and forced me into my room. We had a discussion for a little while, and I told him about my problems with my mom and how it was wrong for her to speak to me that way. He told me that he didn't think she had done anything wrong and that they didn't want to give me back the gun because they thought I may harm someone or myself with it. Something I want to make clear is that I had no intention of doing any of that, and I've never so much as slapped any of my family members. Nonetheless, try to shoot them. The idea itself is absolutely appalling to me. At this point, my mom walked into my room and the argument started again. It got to the point where my mom got extremely angry and began to throw things across my room, knock things off my wall, and get into my face, like she was about to hit me. After this, she told me to leave the house, and I told her that I would happily leave if I could take everything that was mine with me. My mom refused this and told me that she was going to get a bat. My sister stopped her from taking the bat into my room, but my mom still demanded that I leave the house, which I did. I went out on the porch and called my grandparents to come pick me up. In the meantime, my mom made my sister go and get the bat, which she had thrown into the yard to prevent anyone from using it. While my sister brought the bat back inside, my mother told me that if my sister hadn't stopped her, she would have hit me upside the head with the bat. After a while, my grandpa showed up to pick me up, and I informed my parents that I was leaving. They didn't like the idea that I was leaving, even though they had told me to leave earlier. I got a few of my things and went to my grandparents. There's a little more to the story that transpired today. I went back home to collect some stuff I needed for school, and in the meantime, I apologized to my parents for some of the things I had said and done. I had used some strong language and points and told my mom to go to hell after she had told me to do the same. I was hoping that they would apologize for their actions too, and that we could get over it and move on. My parents never apologized though, and proceeded to tell me how I was responsible for everything that happened. My mom denied that she had mocked me and even denied that she had told me that she would have hit me in the head with the bat. The argument only got more heated until I decided to leave and go back to my grandparents. My mom told me that if I went back to my grandparents that I couldn't come back to the house again, and basically that she wanted nothing to do with me anymore. Given the situation, I decided to leave in the hope that everyone would calm down in a few days. But I'm really concerned that my family may have been damaged very badly. So, was I in the wrong here? Also, if you would like to help me out, what do you think I should do from here on to repair the situation? OP, I think I can understand both sides. Your mom does need to learn to control herself because it's your future and it's your decision. If you feel economics isn't working for you, then holding your hands up and finding an alternative is actually rather mature. You need to learn when to pick your arguments. It was silly to bring up the gun while already in an argument. Think to yourself, does it need to be said? If yes, then does it need to be said right now? No. How old are you if you don't mind me asking? I'm surprised that you have a gun if you are at an age where your parents can still ground you. That's not a parenting decision I would make. I would say in answer to your question, you're both a-holes and need to learn to treat each other with more compassion and respect. Now for some comments. Yeah, but you're a kid. Regardless, you made a ton of mistakes. 1. Never escalate an argument, period. 2. You could not have picked a worse moment to ask for a gun. Jesus, that was dumb. 3. Sounds like you need to move forward communicating with your dad exclusively. Your mom is possibly out of her mind. Stay with grandparents as long as they'll let you. And if they're good people, they may need to get involved, especially if they're your mom's parents. Obviously, I don't know the complexities of this relationship, but it sounds like they're gaslighting you. The way you worded this story makes me think your parents are emotionally abusive, and it makes me fearful they could become physically abusive. I don't really know legality, but I think you may want to consider extricating yourself from that environment altogether. If that's what you want to do, I would consider getting legal advice. This sounds like a continuation of the dynamic. Your parents say or do something that is rather asshole-ish. Then you escalate the situation. Your mom makes it worse, and after things cool down, you're mad because they don't apologize and come here to ask people to say you were right. As I said before, they're not going to apologize to you, and it's only going to keep you stuck in your anger, to hold on to the idea that they should. You cannot control them or force them to change, and there is no reason to suspect that they will change. If you choose to continue living with your parents, your only realistic option is to change your expectations and detach emotionally as much as you can from the abusive behavior they exhibit. And, again, as I said before, the truly smart decision would be to make moving out to a healthier environment your priority. Good luck with finding a way to cope with things as they are or finding a new place to live. Story 3. My family is military and we move a lot. My father is finally in a position to retire, and they talk about wanting to move. I'm 16 and I've learned or been in classes to learn Latin and currently sign language. I'm a native English speaker, so I currently know or have known 3 languages. My father is peeved that I've been getting emotional about the idea of learning a 4th language. Sign language means a ton to me. I struggled with speech for a long time, and there were days where I just couldn't speak and would eventually break down when my dad yelled at me, until I cried when I couldn't speak, which would bring me back from my short-term muteness because I made noise with the sobbing and would then have to apologize for not talking. I finally have a way to communicate if I ever go quiet again, and I absolutely love signs. It's everything I look forward to in the day and keeps me going. It's a language I love more than anything, basically. Now, with my family planning to move after my dad retires, there are no schools that teach sign as a second language nearby, and I would likely have to take another language. I've already been told I have no opinion in the matter if my family chooses to move. I'm a sophomore in high school, and while recovering from the change in graduation requirements might not hit me too hard, I don't like the idea of taking another language or having to transfer my credits. I have 30.5 credits out of the required 50 to graduate in my state, and it would be idiotic to see how that changes if I'm almost in a position to graduate as a junior, especially because it would be 2 years of a 4th language would be what would hold me into a senior year the most. I've already told my family that I want to earn the last necessary credits to graduate my junior year online. My school offers online school over the summer because it's not uncommon for kids to graduate junior year in my school. I could easily earn the last 5 credits and have done online school in the past, so it wouldn't be anything new. I already have an offer from my brother. We plan on going to the same college by coincidence, and is planning on moving to an apartment in the area of the college soon, to have me as a roommate once I graduate. He is sick of my dad planning to move, and pulling the adults are the only ones who can decide on a card, when our parents have let us have opinions on us moving in the past. I guess now that we don't agree, our opinions are invalid. He's a legal adult and is just waiting for the summer or something to pop off and push him over the edge. My mother's been leaning more towards my side in this case where my father isn't in the room. She wants me to stay near them, but also knows I'm trying to put myself in a position to leave as quickly as possible, and is prepared to stay where we are currently for a while to accommodate that, and also knows they will be able to find a retirement home they love more if they wait for me to graduate, but doesn't voice this opinion when my father is present in the room. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to learn a 4th language and move to a new state? Not the a-hole, OP. This all sounds incredibly emotionally taxing. Adapting to this amount of change and trying to roll with the punches along the way as an adolescent is so difficult. Dealing with changing schools, changing systems, where you have to work hard to keep your transcripts in order, trying to re-establish yourself in social groups, having any life plans you may have thrown off track. These are huge challenges, and I think you should be proud of how you've been able to handle it thus far. I am sorry you're going through this. I wish your dad was more understanding of what you're going through. Sign language has obviously been very important to you, and I hope you're able to continue to study it.